Okay, this week I've got 7 guests for you. Also, me and Mike are going to talk about UFC Tampa, UFC 197. Of course, we might have a chat about Conor McGregor's apparent retirement.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Welcome one and all to John and Mike's MMA Corner.
MMA from a different angle.
And before we kick off with obviously our usual saga of laughter and seriousness, professionalism, we're going to start by asking you all to jump onto Facebook, Twitter, the lot really, the social networking sites, and give some of our esteemed colleagues a follow, because their hard work really helps not only us and yourselves, but just MMA grow. So first up we have MMA Scotland. We'd like you to also jump onto UFC Wreckage on Facebook. Their Twitter handle and their website is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
Jump on to Facebook to Fighting and MMA.
We also have on Facebook and Twitter The Real MMA Talk.
And last but not least, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter. Can't miss them. If you like a giggle, you like a laugh, jump onto Funny MMA, kind of putting a light-hearted view on the aspects of MMA and the goings-ons.
I thought it was serious.
Exactly. So that's what you want to jump onto. Now what we're going to do is jump straight in to this week's edition. Okay, Mike. Right. It's been a crazy week, I would say, for clickbaiting. The amount of stories kicking off with the Conor saga. I suppose we should delve into that first, and let's just have a little chat about that, and then we'll obviously then review what happened last week with some of the events, and we'll go into other bits later on, as in some other new fight announcements. Also, we can talk about the upcoming cards and bits and bobs like that. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, right. Ladies and gentlemen, during the week, as you all saw, it caused a craze. Look, even BBC Sport website made a column about it. You had...
So that might be their first ever mention of
No, it's
MMA.
not, mate. No, they've done other bits. One of them was... A couple of bits been awful write-ups. And then they also did... it was also the Uni Lad, which is a phenomenon from Facebook. It's got its own website and stuff. They even mentioned about Conor. It literally touched base everywhere. So, Conor McGregor put a tweet out saying he's retiring, thanks for the money, etc. That was it. Left a very short, left questions. Was it... was someone...
Yeah, you asked more questions than it sort of posed, and everyone was sort of speculating, is this real? What does it mean?
Exactly. Did someone take his phone and all this stuff? So who knows?
My first thoughts were, this has got to be bullshit. Is it... I don't know. Yeah, that was my first thoughts.
There was loads of stuff going on, loads of questions, people asking stuff. I didn't comment about anything. People were asking me stuff, and because I wanted to get some information from some sources, and I've really found out some information. Basically, what it looked like was Conor McGregor was... There was mainly 2 reasons it looks like. The schedule for the kind of promoting side of it was a bit much for his it would affect his training. And secondly, the money side of things. Seeing that Conor McGregor was wanting $10 million for the fight. UFC was saying no. They were putting their point across, they're arguing. So Conor McGregor said, right, if you're not giving what I want, off I go. Then load of stuff came out. Conor McGregor finally released a statement, and he said, look, I'm paid to fight, not paid to promote. I've been doing all these shows, doing interviews for Tom, Dick and Harry in the middle of nowhere who gives zero fucks about me in a fight, and they're just doing it to, put something on their little CV and stuff. And get little voiceovers. And now what he's done is, he said, look, I want to go and train, do what's got me here in the first place, and I think, the UFC should give me a bit of leniency. He said that he made the UFC $600 million or something in the last 3 events or whatever, which isn't. There's no way he's made that much fun. But anyway.
Before you go too far down the figures, he also then turns around and everything's elaborated.
Yeah.
He turns around and says, about exaggerated numbers.
Yeah.
But what he has done is he has put MMA even more on the map.
Yeah.
Which is true. He has netted the UFC a shed load of money, which is very true.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's been paid well.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
I'm sure he's a lot more wealthier than he was a couple of years ago. But, yeah, that's, a link between himself and the UFC, and how he puts himself across and the opportunity the UFC give him.
He said he's training for Nick. He wants to train properly. He still wants to fight Nick. He's still on for UFC 200. I think the UFC and Conor are going to have to come to some agreement with how the promotion's going to work. Conor himself even said that, look, one tweet promoted this card more than anyone else could. To be honest with you, he's already right. He's bang on. He puts one tweet out and that's enough to get the promotion and the look of interest on that card even more than it would have been beforehand. I'd like to see what goes on. I think he'll still fight on UFC 200. He will still fight Nate.
I was just about to ask you, what your thoughts are. Do you think that he's going to be on that card?
I think the UFC are too smart of a business and a company to not have Conor on. They know the attention it's brought. They know they'll have him on fighting Nate. I think they'll just come to some kind of arrangement with it. I think he might do a lot of stuff via video interviews, if that makes sense, like Skyping.
Right. Well, just to get people's awareness out there, the two biggest cards of the year, without fail, generally, that happen regularly per year, are the July Fight Week and the end of year / beginning of year, because sometimes it falls in the first week of January.
Yeah, it depends on,
the last week in December, that card. So they're the ones that they normally generate the most cash and also reach the furthest. Like people that maybe don't watch so many throughout the year, they're the cards that really hit home. So they're the ones where you tend to get your mega cards,
So, look, Mike, do you think he's going to be fighting on UFC 200? Do you think he's going to be fighting Nate? Do you think...
I would say if Conor McGregor does fight for the UFC again, he will fight on UFC 200.
Yeah, I think so too. Look, that's happened. I'm sure in the next week or so it'll be sorted out, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to quickly, move on to the next kind of subject matters in the sense of fights that have happened recently. Before we do, though, I want to mention the guests that we've got on this week for you. So again, they're going to be on a playlist. If you go onto SoundCloud, YouTube, they'll be on there. There'll be loads of links and stuff. We've got Andrew Whitney. We've got Brian Terrell. We've got Corey Tate. Muradad Jan Zimini. I'll kill his surname. Micah Miller. Nick Gertz and Tyler Hunley. We've got all those guests on. We've got people who are fighting on Titan FC. We've got people who are fighting on the upcoming BCMMA card. We've got people who are linked into the Valor Fights card. We've got a mixture of people from the States and the USA there for you to tune into. Look, jump on, listen to their interviews, enjoy them. Okay, now, let's go on, Mike, to last week. Cage Warriors finally made their return. There was some fights on the card which had my eye particular attention. What I liked about the whole show was that it was nothing that hadn't been done before. They kept it how it was before. They kept the same structure. Everything looked... Obviously, the graphics changed. It was on UFC Fight Pass as well. Another reason to buy UFC Fight Pass, ladies and gentlemen. I told you...
and another good reason.
Yeah, I put it out there a while back.
Going to get better and better.
Yeah, I put it out there a while back. It was going to be on Fight Pass. They announced it finally. It's on. Look, the only thing that was different was the graphics, really. Everything else looked great. Couple of good...
it's almost like they just went on a bit of a break, so to speak.
Yeah, I think...
And to most people who don't understand the ins and outs of, like who's not involved anymore and who is, it will pretty much seem the same, and which, let's be honest, is all we need to know, to be honest.
That's all we need to know.
Do we enjoy the fights? Do we enjoy the production of it?
Now, some of the fights that stuck out, Darren Stewart went up against James Hurrell. There's about a 7-inch height difference for a start. James Hurrell didn't even make the 205 weight class. Stewart smashed James Hurrell within 40 seconds, I think it was, for some ground and pound. Totally outclassed. Darren Stewart looking absolutely phenomenal. Solid performance. Can't wait to see who they match him up with next.
Do you know what? Darren's pretty much got himself in that position now where, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's ever had easy fight, but he's in that position now where, because he's finishing pretty much everyone that you fight, and looking fantastic doing it. I mean, like, I think we covered his first fight, and you know, he showed good promise then, and he's continued to do so. You know, and yeah, I'm really interested to see where, you know, this career ends up going, like, because it's already looking fantastic, and
yeah,
I'm thinking
one of the big fights, Mike, that was a shock, was a surprise, was Scott Cleese versus Brad Wheeler. Scott Cleese getting a third round TKO, just literally caught Brad Wheeler with a beautiful.
Oh dear, it's got to be my favourite punch of the night. I would say, you know,
yeah,
definitely one of them. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Just caught Brad Wheeler, yeah, and Brad Wheeler just literally got the wheels knocked off him.
How he survived that, I don't know. You know, I mean, obviously, yeah, okay, he got stopped between rounds, like, you know.
Yeah, he got stopped. Yeah.
Covered,
TKO, yeah, it was.
You know, but yeah, fantastic punch, you know, and
yeah,
under Scott Cleese, you know, hats off to him. I picked Brad to win that fight, so
yeah, Scott was an underdog in the fight, big underdog, you know, good win. Another fight which was a solid, dominant performance. It showed like a change in the guard. Ashley Grimshaw versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, literally, in my opinion, thoroughly, you know, won that bout from start to finish. He looked very good in the fight. You know, what's next for Paddy Pimblett? I think it's probably him versus Alex Enlin for, you know, at the 145 stab. It's going to be good. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that seems the obvious choice, like I would say. But yeah, it's another somebody else who's looking like a very bright future ahead.
Yeah, he is. He's a promising fighter. The main event, you had Jack Manson against Alan Carlos. Jack Manson, he put on a good performance. I think Alan Carlos, you know, put on a great, solid fight there. It was a really good matchup. Really, people were underestimating Alan. I think that Jack, you know, third round TKO did. You know, I think it just took him that round or two to get his swagger back. Once he got that going, I think it was, you know, it was him.
He has fought, even though Cage Warriors has been, you know, on the sideline. I think he was just surprised at just
how good Alan was. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Alan was
it's like
really
no
up for that fight, really prepared.
Against him, and you know what? I'd say hats off to him. He might have lost, but I think he's. I think he grows as a fighter from this, you know, and I think he can rightly take confidence from this, you know, to his next fight.
We'll go then to we'll just quickly mention as well, Rizin had a card on as well. It didn't get as much back in his last time because last time it was New Year. It was the only, you know, it was the first time. This card kind of went a little bit under the radar, but two fights that happened, which Gabby Garcia got a submission win. Gabby Garcia back on, but Darren Cruikshank winning with soccer kick. Gotta love a bit of that.
Yeah. You gotta love the Japanese, like.
Look, we're gonna go to the UFC Tampa card that happened, Mike. Is there any particular fights for you that stood out?
Yeah, there was quite a few actually. You know.
There was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was generally a fun night. I think it's safe to say. Yeah, it's. I'm a little bit unprepared here. Hang on.
Okay, right. John Dobson starching Manny Gamburian, coming back to the 135 division. He literally puts in another firework in that weight class. You know, brings that 135 division alive. You know, coming into it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, fantastic performance. But also this one here, Cesar Ferreira against Awu.
Really?
Bambozi, or whatever his name is.
That was alright. It wasn't anything special.
Now, Bamboz basically won all his fights, I believe. I think it was in the first round.
Right.
Or second round, you know, like in the first two rounds. He basically finished all his opponents. So this was obviously his longest fight to date. Now, I remember seeing the first round, and he doesn't get the finish, and it was one of those fights where you know where people say, like, you don't get the finish and you go all out, you lose the fight, you know. It was exactly that, and he just seemed to not have the gas one that could basically survive his attacks, and came unstuck.
Court McGee getting starched by Ponzinibbio with a hell of a punch as well. Beautiful.
Sorry?
Court McGee getting starched by Ponzinibbio.
Yeah. You might think that we're going back and forth a little bit on this, but I'm also going to add as well. Now, Randy Brown was one of the guys that was brought in from. He was the second guy to be
Find a fighter, yeah.
From
looking for a fighter.
Series.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Graves looked fantastic. Looked awesome in that fight.
He's a very good fighter. He was from the Ultimate Fighter. He's a very good guy. Very good. The thing is with him, he's very good technically. He's a very solid technical fighter. Randy Brown though he has a lot of output, but he just technically he's just not there yet, and it showed in that fight. It was a good performance. I know Michael Chiesa, Beneil Dariush, that was the standout kind of surprise, really.
That was two different fights in one there. The first round, Beneil just came out and showed what he can do. Some of those leg kicks looked just savage, that's Rafael
Cordero working with him there on that one. But what got me was in the second round with the back take from Chiesa was absolutely exquisite. And it showed Chiesa's
transition as well.
It showed Chiesa's level of grappling. MMA grappling is in the elite class. But one thing I think though that Beneil Dariush, when I watch it back, it looked like Beneil wasn't taking Chiesa's grappling or choking offense on a serious level. He wasn't fighting the choke off or anything. It was really strange to watch.
I know where you're coming from there. I agree. I would hope that being as professional that he is, he wasn't doing that.
But I think he was, if I'm honest.
It did appear that maybe he thought he was on another level. And, maybe he wasn't.
And that's what I think. I think he just literally had a moment where he just wasn't giving he wasn't acting like he had another Beneil on his back. He didn't have himself on his back, and he let it basically by doing that is what let that choke happen. If he had taken everything seriously, he would have been all right. But he just let that all go and happen, and it's his own. I think he let that fight slip away by doing what he did. If he had fought differently and fought for every inch, that would not have happened.
Yeah, maybe, it's the...
Yeah, and now Michael Chiesa gets a guy who... Michael Chiesa, you're going to get a guy who's going to fight someone... What? You're going to get a top 5 guy, possibly next.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd be interested to see how he does. Another mention I think worthy is Raquel Pennington.
Split decision against Betch.
Winner of the Betty career. Fantastic fight. Fun fight to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, I didn't mind if it went either way, to be fair. It was I wouldn't have minded it if it went to Betch either. It wasn't like overly.
It was close, if it had gone in any direction, I think you wouldn't have sort of screamed robbery.
No.
I thought Raquel won the fight. But it's
same with but Mike, it's the same with the.
And I think it's a fantastic win for Raquel. And she is putting herself in a position where, it's...
she's probably like one... She's probably... one or two fights away, to be fair.
Holly home before, she welcomed Holly home to the UFC, and I actually thought that she beat Holly home.
Yeah, I think, Mike, though, I think Raquel's probably one or two fights away from that potential shot. You've got... that decision, though, reminded me... It's similar to the Rose and Torres decision where it was... unanimous decision to Rose, but I wouldn't have argued too much if it was given to Torres. Even though I scored it for Rose, it wouldn't have been blind robbery if it was given to Torres.
No, you wouldn't still be shouting about it today.
No, because Torres, she was landing some great counters whenever Rose was attacking. I loved the fight itself. It showed the evolution on both fighters. Both of them, since the last time they fought, they've come on leaps and bounds. I was impressed by both parties there. But then again,
Rose is also, to me, I think she's one of the most entertaining fighters in that division.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Then you have the Cub Swanson coming back against Hackran Diaz. Cub was a very calculated fighter this time round. He looked very patient. He improved a lot more with his striking than he did in his last few fights against Edgar and Holloway. It was a different Swanson. It was a smart Swanson. We don't know if Swanson's going to come back. He said he might, like he hinted at potential retirement before this and after this. So hopefully, I want Cub back. But we don't know. But do you know what? I was impressed with his performance.
Yeah, he did well. And also, Khabib returned.
Yeah, it was a good tune. It was a good tune-up fight for him. You know, it was exactly what he needed. Good tune-up fight.
There was no surprise. I think hats off to Darrell Horcher for taking the fight. I mean, obviously he gets him into the UFC, and do you know what? He did all right. he got past. You know, he got over halfway through the second round.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's what Khabib needed. He needed to go more than the round. You know, get those cobwebs off. 2 years out.
You know what? It probably wouldn't even hurt him to go into the third round as well.
It was for Khabib. It was ideal. You know, he got to get out there, get the cobwebs out, just get that timing back, that feeling back, that rhythm back. You know, he got a good 8.5 minutes in the cage time. He'll come next time he writes, because people were saying he didn't look amazing. I was like, look, he's been out for 2 years. It's a tune-up fight. It is what it is. He needs to go in there, play around a bit, get himself back into the groove, and then he'll be next fight. It won't be the same guy as you saw last time. You shouldn't expect him to come out and be exceptional. You should expect him to come out and just get those cobwebs off. And that was, I thought, you know, his transitioning from takedowns from like singles to double to singles, and body takedowns, throws, everything. Oh my word, I have missed that for 2 years. There is no one in the UFC doing what he does, and people need to understand how beautiful of a transition artist he is from takedowns. It was exceptional to watch. I was, honest to God, that second round when he did that takedown, the hip toss on him, it was one of the best moments I've seen in MMA for a long time. Love Khabib so much. Can't wait for him to get back in. Main event, Mike.
Main event. Yeah, Glover pick there against Rashad Evans. Yeah, didn't go on long.
Starched,
pretty much a one-punch knockout, really.
Yeah, he just got starched, Rashad. And the thing was, Rashad in this fight was, you would think he's got the speed, athleticism over Glover. You think the movement would work, but all he did, he wasn't cutting angles at all. Well, he was, but not enough. He was mostly going backwards, which was what put against the cage.
Pretty much had the cage behind him all the time,
and Glover then, really, when he saw this, he used his footwork to cut off the outside from Rashad and was able to then land his strikes. For Rashad, people in like middleweight, it doesn't work well for guys at the latter stage of their career dropping down. It hasn't worked well for a lot of people.
You tend to come up against speed then.
It's not worked out well for him going down.
The problem really for guys as they start to go up in age is not power so much. You know what I mean? It's the speed of these guys. You know, it's obviously the lighter you go, generally the faster the fighter. And yeah, you know, it's the speed that kills more than the power. Really, it
will pain Rashad to admit it, but you know, what's he got left to prove? There's nothing for Rashad to do. He's been, former champ. You know, he's an old school tough guy. You know,
and he's got a good
job.
You know, doing the Fox nights and what have you.
Like, I think maybe he might want one more fight against someone who's maybe not top 5. Maybe, you know, I'm not saying a more beatable guy to maybe go out on a win. But that's pretty much all I can think about right now. That's pretty much all he'd do. So then let's go on, Mike.
So I think we can safely say we enjoyed pretty much all that card.
It was a fun card. Look,
but we picked it as a good card.
Considering, even though they had injuries and fights taken off,
and it was more than a bit enjoyable.
We'll go on then to a couple of fight announcements. Then we'll move on to the cards come up. A couple of fights that got announced, Mike, was Fedor against Fabio Maldonado, June 17th, going down in Russia. That's just got entertainment value written all over it, really.
Yeah, I think that's actually got a little bit of risk for Fedor there, because the Maldonado, you got somebody that enjoys to strike and can strike, you know, to look at him, he doesn't look
but
so much like it, but he can do it. And
if you take
what's left of Fedor, you know, so...
But if you take Maldonado down, it's a different game then.
Yeah.
So you gotta remember Fedor can do that. So even though no matter what age Fedor is, he'll still have that sambo. He'll still have those trips and takedowns. I like the fight. I think it's just gonna be. It's just it's a fun fight to make. I'm glad they made it. Fedor's still hinted about UFC contracts and stuff, signing with the UFC. I don't know what will happen. It might happen after this. Who knows? It's all about that.
To listen to it, I'm afraid.
Look, it's all about that Verdum fight. Verdum said he'd like it. Fedor said he'd like it. The UFC will like that because it's all about the money. If Verdum can keep that belt, that will it's a money maker. Simple as that.
I mean, yeah. You look about it, like, so he would pretty much walk into the UFC. You could throw Bigfoot in straight away, so he can revenge one loss, and then you could throw Verdum at him.
I'd just throw Verdum at him straight away and get out of the way, even if it's a one-fight loss. One-fight contract, get him in, get him out if he doesn't win.
Yeah, because it'd be mega, and it'd be a shame if Fedor never fought in the UFC.
It's just a money maker, that's all it is. You've got to think business side of things. Look, let's do some other matchups. You had some fights, we'll just touch on them. Holloway, Lamas. I like the matchup. You know, they've got to keep Holloway busy. I was wondering who they were going to give him. I think it's a more dangerous fight for Lamas than it is for Holloway. Holloway is on fire.
Yeah, Holloway, you know, I think could be one fight away from a title shot.
Yeah, I think Holloway, though, has to bridge that gap between the Chad Mendes, the Frankie Edgar, and the Jose Aldo kind of. He's got to get one of them to get in. Once he takes Lamas, I don't think that gets him a shot at the title. I think beating one of them three gets him a shot at the title. Felice Herrig against... she's come back after a little break. I'm surprised she's actually came back after someone I spoke to within the UFC who's close, who speaks closely with her because of certain issues in herself, confidence-wise, against Kayla Curran. That's going to be a hell of a fight. It's just going to be quite wild. We'll see how Felice handles that fight because her last one against Paige Van Zandt, she just didn't look the girl who fought in Invicta.
Well, she got smashed by Paige, who then went on to get smashed by Rose, so you would probably look at that and think to yourself, well, you know, what do I do here?
Another one, Ronda Marcos against Jocelyn Jones Leberger. Again, that's an interesting bout. Ronda, I'm looking forward to seeing how she performs in the cage next. Jocelyn, see how she can do as well. I like that matchup. That's going on the UFC Ottawa card up in Canada. That card is looking really good for Canada. Super made up for those people there. One guy, you said it off air when I spoke to you about this matchup. Tim Boetsch against Josh Salmon. I'm like you, Mike.
Yeah, which promotion's that in then?
Tim Boetsch has lost 3 in a row and he's still in the UFC. I know he's a banger. I know he's fun if he gets in that kind of fight, but this fight suits Josh Salmon right down to the ground after his last loss. It's ideal for Josh, I think. I think this could be literally curtain calls for Tim Boetsch.
Well, I thought the last fight was. But,
I know, me too. This definitely is. This has got to be now.
I do like Tim, so I don't mind. But,
no, I don't mind either. Yeah. Look, we'll go on now to the fights that are coming up this week. Okay. Before we talk about the fights that come up this week, if you're listening to this on SoundCloud or YouTube, you know, give it a like, give it a repost or a share or a comment or something. You know, folks, your interactions help everything we do, helps give us feedback, anything like that. While you're listening, just go down, give it a like, etc. Thank you very much. We're going to go to Bellator quickly. You've got the debut of Benson Henderson. He's getting a shot at the 170 belt against Andrei Koreshkov. Like the fight. I love the fight, actually. Because you're getting a guy in Benson Henderson on your promotion anyway, for a start.
Yeah, who, you know, I think his last couple of fights were his more exciting couple of fights.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've always liked him. It's just, it's there's nothing to not like about him. You know, it's what I didn't like is in the fights where it seemed that he'd lost, he was given a decision which was no fault all of his own, you know.
Just poor judging.
But it seems to happen a little bit too often, you know.
Yeah.
And I've always screamed that who I believe wins the fight should be the winner of the fight, you know. But anyway, that's not his own fault. But yeah, with Benson Henderson, you've got somebody who's now, you can now say, if he wins this, he will be champion of three of the more larger promotions we've had. The only one, obviously, that he wouldn't have been involved with is St. Pride.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a hell of a fight though. People, you know, I'm not saying, yeah, people will write off Koreshkov because they don't know who he is, but this guy is a monster. He's 18
Yeah,
and
it's
1.
not given. You know, he's got to go out and earn it.
No, the dude is 18 and 1 for a reason. He is an absolute monster to fight. You know, it's a hell of a fight, a hell of a matchup. Hendo's stepping in because he's got a skill set. I'm looking forward to it, you know, because Hendo's looked good at 170. You know, he's done it at 150. He's doing it at 170. Well, he has looked solid. Hendo might do 2 weight classes again in Bellator to get, you know, could be a 2-weight champion there. Also on the card, I don't think he's getting the biggest fight he can get. I think the guy should be fighting higher quality. But Michael Page, British lad, is fighting again against Jeremy Holloway. Look, he's fighting. I don't mind, but at the same time, hopefully, you know, if he gets past this bout, he hopefully gets a bigger name, and we'll start to really see what Page is made of. I still feel that he's still maturing, but I think there's more out of him, and I want to see him get tested now.
Yeah, he's definitely like a big hope for the future, though, in my eyes.
Yeah, we're going to go to UFC 197 now, Mike. Let's talk about a handful of fights.
Yeah,
handful of fights on the card, Mike.
There is not a fight on this card I don't like.
Right.
This card is like last weekend. You know, how I think that we'll be talking about every fight from next week. This card just is full of fights that I like. You know, there's nothing I want to miss. I'll just put all my drinks out in front of me before it starts. I might have a little empty bottle next to me just so I can have a little pee if I need to. And I don't want to miss a moment of this.
Well, okay then. That's a big statement to make on this card from yourself. Let's go and delve into the card then, because you're loving the whole card. Let's start at the bottom then, and because Kevin Lee against Escudero.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Lee. Did he not lose his last?
He lost his last fight. Got finished.
That's right, he did. But normally very entertaining in the process, anyway. Like, you know, so yeah, I'm excited for that. Also, Efren lost his last as well.
Efren Escudero, yeah.
So you got two guys, you know, with lost behind them that need to sort of like. I mean, this day and age, you can be out with one loss. So, you know, has been proven. So you've really, you know, it's important that you get those wins even more so this day and age. Yeah, Clinton Hester.
Hester, yeah.
Yeah, always fun to watch. Cody East. Now, Cody East is another one of the guys that was brought in from the series, you know, the Dana White series.
Yeah, we know, Mike. It's the feature fight on the UFC Fight Pass. Yeah.
Yeah. It's he looked alright. I mean, the guy he was fighting wasn't in massive shape, but Walt Harris, though, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it goes down. You know, I'm sure we'll soon find out.
Well, the Cody East himself, you know, there's a lot of stuff going in about this guy that, in relation to, I think it's rape or abuse of women, and there's a load of stuff pending dates back as well. He's got a lot of criminal charges and stuff, so there's a bit of a little semi-uproar. But if you look at it from a purely perspective of MMA, the dude is like, he's 12 and 1. He's unbeaten in like, I don't know, 10 fights or something like that. You know, he's doing what he needs to on an MMA perspective. You know, he's fighting, he's finishing guys. He's a new addition to the heavyweight division. We'll see how he performs, like you say. And in
the heavyweight division, you can literally have 2 or 3 good wins, and straight away, you know, you're big time on the map.
So, go on then, Mike. Next fight you want to talk about? Let's go.
Right, okay. Danny Roberts. Danny Roberts looked brilliant in his first fight in the UFC. I think he has a very bright future in the UFC. he definitely looks like he belongs there. Shall we put it that way?
Yeah, I love Danny Roberts. Well, yeah, Dominic Steele is his opponent. Dominic Steele, if you recall, lost to one Mr. Zach of the Cummings. Got absolutely started, but then he came back against Dong Hung Kim and got his own finish. So he got stopped, and then he came back, got a stoppage himself. So, Dominic Steele, he shows that he can bang, something that, but then again, he can also get clipped. So for Danny Roberts, I'm interested to see how he performs. I was I will say it right now, I'm an absolute wally and totally forgot to get Danny on the podcast. I do apologise. I'm actually going to send him a message to apologise to him because I feel terrible I didn't. A big fight that I think is going super duper under the radar, and it's more of a case of what's going to happen is Carla Esparza returns.
Exactly. Yeah.
Huge question marks. It's getting overshadowed by, Jon Jones returning, but it's a huge, huge thing. She's got Juliana Lima. For me, it's all about how Carla performs after being out for so long.
Yeah, with Carla, you've got the girl there that pretty much owned her division until she came up against JJ.
Yeah.
And until then, she was the favourite going into the tough series. She won that series.
But it leaves me question marks, Mike, on how would she perform against Claudia Gadelha as well? Because she's an absolute savage. I think, are we going to see a run?
You've got a couple of girls there that now really sort of could stop that climb for her. But, it'd be interesting to see how she comes back from that fight. Because that was a really damaging fight.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Psychologically as well, to be the girl that everyone thinks is the girl to beat, and then all of a sudden, she didn't just lose, she got bullied.
She got mauled, yeah, Mike, you're right. Fight. So, look, one of the fights that are going to be potential fight tonight is Andre Fili against Yari Rodriguez. That's one potential. That's a hell of a fun fight. That's so tight. There's so many people picking both guys. It's such a interesting matchup. I still am. I don't know. I think I maybe have to wait till the weigh-in, see how both looking physically, and I don't know. That's a hell of a fight to pick. It's hard to choose someone. One fight I think is a bit of a given is Robert Whittaker fighting Rafael Natal. Like Natal, he is a legit killer on the ground. His grappling is top draw, but the dude is an idiot and just likes to stand and bang. And you're like, look, just do what you do best and get him down. And he's fighting Robert Whittaker.
He's a little bit of a Gonzaga of the middleweights, but having said that, because he can fight on the feet. He is all right.
He's not. I don't think he's of a level that's
where he's more suited.
He's not of a level that's going to trouble Whittaker. Whittaker, if I'm honest, will starch Natal on the feet. It puts Whittaker up there. Whittaker's starting to pushing those top 10 rankings now. He's pushing up those top 10 rankings in the middleweight division, which I just don't see. People, I've heard rumours of people commented about Whittaker getting, pushing for title shots and stuff. I think Whittaker's going to fall short at the upper level.
Yeah, when you come up against somebody with an all-round game, and they'll always stop Whittaker as far as his ground game's a little bit to be desired, but on the feet, he's very entertaining.
So next up we're going to talk about is the second fight, which I think is going to be up there with tied for fight of the night, is Anthony Pettis, Edson Barboza. Hell of a fight. Yeah. Go on, Mike. What's your thoughts on that one quickly then?
Yeah, I don't see an awful lot of jiu-jitsu in this fight.
No, it's ideal for both parties.
Yeah, you've got two guys here that can be really creative with their kicks. Don't make an awful lot of mistakes with their striking. It's anyone's fight, especially as Anthony Pettis is coming off a loss. It's
2 losses.
Back-to-back losses. You'd be interested to see how he comes back from that. But I think this has got entertainment all over it. And I see somebody getting stopped in this fight.
Yeah, I think the longer the fight goes, it suits Anthony Pettis. Edson Barboza's cardio just isn't going to go in the third round with that sting and venom. For Pettis, he'll be better. But if Pettis knows, if Barboza's smart enough, he'll learn from that Rafael fight that And Eddie Alvarez as well. Just pressure Pettis, get him on his back feet and keep him back against that cage. Keep him tied up. Keep him, keep it tight. Don't give him space. You give him space, that's when he's dangerous. Next fight up, I think, for me, personally, Henry Cejudo is way too off the mark. He's not at that level yet to beat Demetrius Johnson. Everyone's got to fight his chance, Mike. But
Johnson, you've got the pound-for-pound best in the world, I think.
Mike. Yeah, but the thing is, with Cejudo, I think he's not quick enough. I don't think he's technically good enough. I don't feel his wrestling's progressed into MMA, as some people have. I'm not saying he's going to get starched. I just don't see him. I think, Johnson will just pick away at Henry. I want to see Henry's cardio in the fourth and fifth round. And I think by then, Johnson might be able to maybe tap him or catch him with something and finish it off.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Yeah, it's the 5-rounder. With Demetrius, you've got a guy that's just not there to be hit, and, don't get me wrong, Henry's looked really good in some of these fights, but he's coming up against a guy that I think half the time is not going to be there. So when Henry finishes throwing his shots, Demetrius has already gone and peppered him on the way, and I think that's pretty much going to be how this fight goes. And yeah, I think as far as MMA skills, that he totally trounces Henry.
Yeah, and look, next fight up then, main event, Mike. Jon Jones, OSP. I'll put it this way: super excited to see Jon Jones back. He's going to go in there. In my opinion, I think he's going to take probably second round. He's going to finish OSP second or third round, and that'll be an interim title. Goes Jon Jones, sets up for DC, end of. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Off to New York they go.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, that's nothing against OSP. It's just Jon Jones is,
he's a better fighter. He's the greatest of all time. He's technically the greatest of all time. He's a GOAT. He's a hell of a fighter.
He's never actually really truly lost a fight. I know he got disqualified.
Matt Hamill's the back of Matt Hamill's head beat him up. Beat his elbow so bad he had to quit. That card. There's a lot of interesting fights which have repercussions with the results. If Jon Jones can finish OSP quick and keep fit, it means that DC fight can happen. It'll probably happen in New York in November. I don't want Jon Jones to wait that long. I'd like it to happen earlier.
No, I think Jon Jones needs to. Yeah, he needs to stay a little bit busy. He's been off the radar for a little while.
I think he'll fight. I'd like to see him fight DC sooner, but we'll see what happens. Look, that's that card. It looks solid. There's the Bellator card. There's a couple of good fights on there. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah,
all in all, it's a good weekend of MMA. If you're an MMA fan, we're going to be watching the fights.
What the hell are you doing listening to this?
Yeah, we're going to be watching the fights. You should all watch the fights. We'll be back next week. More guests, more chat, more news, more gossip, all that palaver. So tune in then, folks. And we hope you all enjoyed this week. We certainly did. We had a great time. And we just want to get you, before you go, jump on your social networking sites and give these people a follow. We have MMA Scotland. We have on Facebook UFC Wreckage. Also, their website and Twitter is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
On Facebook, we have Fighting and MMA.
And on Facebook and Twitter, we have The Real MMA Talk.
And then last but not least, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, they're funny. They talk about MMA. It's funny MMA. Jump on. They'll give you a giggle. And let's finish off with thank you very much, everyone. We will be back very soon, won't we, Mike?
Yep, definitely. Thank you very much and goodbye.